ready to go. Um,
Okay.
so let's start off the easy way. How has 2023 season been so far for Tawse?
So far it's been good. So far it's been good. The winter has been really good for us. So we haven't really lost too much crop for this year. So that's exciting. The season started well. It slowed down a bit the past few weeks. It's been a bit cooler and wet as well. So we're hoping that the weather gets better, but it's getting better, and we have to wait until the harvest to really know what kind of season we'll have. But it's looking good so far for sure. Everything is kind of lush and green at this point right now.
Lush and green is always a good sign, right?
Yeah,
When it's
for
starting
sure.
off. I'm sure there's other gardeners out there who are also looking at that, or comparing it to their own gardens and how they're doing this year, regardless of
Exactly.
exactly depending, even if they're not down there or up here in Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
We ordered in a lot of Tawse because we know we went through so much of it last year, and we know it's always
Yeah.
a favorite. Is there any little highlights? Let's start off. I mean, I know that the Spark is probably one of my favorites. We also go through a lot of oysters here, so that's usually one of my recommendations for people. That it's one of my favorites to go along with oysters.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yes, and thank you very much for giving a good selection to your client. The sparkling, yeah, for sure. We've been making sparkling for a few years now, and and we make quite a bit of sparkling, about 5 or 6 different per year, and we're very excited. As you know, Niagara is a great region for making really good sparkling because it's a cool climate. We can make very fresh and crisp sparkling wines. Lots of them are made from the traditional method, like in Champagne, which is also very exciting. So people looking for excellent value sparkling wine in the Champagne style, Niagara is definitely a way to go. But the sparkling Riesling is very different because first of all, it's made from Riesling. Other than Germany, there's not that many regions that make sparkling wine from that grape. And in Ontario, there's a few producers making it. So as you should expect from Riesling, you get quite a bit of aromatic, a bit of floral notes. It's quite exuberant on the nose. And you get flavors of peach and apple and orchard fruit, a bit of that floral, a bit of minerality as well. And you'd find a little bit of brioche because it is made from the traditional method. It has about 13 grams of residual sugar, so it's definitely a bit of a fruitier style. It's not sweet per se because it's really,
Okay.
really well balanced. It's very crisp and fresh, but definitely you find the fruitiness in this wine. So I think with oyster it will be really, really good. I think if you have any deep fried appetizer, for example, calamari would be really good with that. And because it has a bit of that fruitiness as well, I think it goes really well. And the kind of the exuberant flavor, I think it goes really well with Asian fusion food as well. So definitely it's a great wine to start the evening with, and it's certified organic from one of our vineyard as well, which is very exciting too.
It's one of I said it's one of my little go-tos that I always tell people all the time that every time I've gone down to Niagara, when I usually go to Tawse in the morning is usually one of my first stops, especially when I'm coming into town, and that's where I start my day. So I always start with a glass of Riesling of the Spark when I
Very
walk in.
good.
That's how I start my I got to start my day with something, right? So it's been
Yeah,
a
for sure.
tradition. Every time I go down, that's my traditional starting for the whole tasting when I'm visiting the area. So which is fun. So now for whites, I've brought in, we have the Growers Pinot Gris. We have
Mhm.
the Limestone Riesling and the Estate Chard, which are going to be new on our list right now. Maybe you
Mhm.
can kind of describe to people the difference between when they see that Growers blend on a label and what it refers to.
Yeah, for sure. The Growers Blend is for us a mid-range label in terms of quality and pricing as well. Most of the grapes that go into the Growers Blend comes from purchased fruit from local growers. So that's why it's called Growers Blend. It's a blend made from growers fruit from the area, not necessarily, not usually not estate. That being said, things have changed over the year that sometimes you will find some estate grown grapes in it, but it's definitely a blend from different vineyards and mostly purchased fruit. So these wines are made, I mean, they're high quality wines. They're made in terms of the red, I would say, for a midterm cellaring or for consuming right now or midterm cellaring, I would say. So we make a Cabernet Franc, a Pinot Noir in that lineup, and these can be aged a little bit as well. So the Pinot Gris, it's all it's all purchased Pinot Gris from a vineyard in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And 2000s from the 2020 vintage, which was an amazing, one of the best vintage ever in Ontario. What was great about 2020 is that it was really hot. In the summertime, it was dry, and when came the harvest, the nights were pretty cool. So all the whites and the red were very concentrated. The grapes were very small, and also lots of the grape retained quite a bit of acidity as well. So even the whites are nice and crisp and fresh, even though they have concentration in fruit. So this was a really exciting year for pretty much all the varietal. So definitely invite the guests to look for 2020 wines in Ontario. So the Pinot Gris, yes, it's a dry style. It's concentrated with a bit of, I would say, pear and nut and a bit of nuttiness and a bit of mineral quality as well. This is a wine that will go well with food that has a bit of richness, but not too much. I think with poultry, it would be really nice. I think with pork would be really nice as well. And also salad maybe with fish, like salad with maybe tuna would be a good. I find that this Pinot Gris can be a good substitute to a light-bodied Chardonnay without the oak. So it's a really food-friendly wine. So I really enjoyed that. It's one of our favorite at the winery as well. We make and one of the other whites you have is the Limestone Ridge Riesling, which is in fact coming from the same vineyard as the sparkling that you have. So you can even try the sparkling version and the table wine version coming from that same parcel, which is kind of interesting, from the same vintage as well, 2020. This Riesling is off dry. It's fruit forward. It's super well balanced. You find honeysuckle. You find peach. You find wet stone characteristic as well. Super fresh finish. Great with Asian food. It's great with salad as well. With fruity element, like it would go well with food that has fruity element. Maybe if you have it like a nice pork chop with a mango and peach salsa would be really, really nice with that, for example. So that's definitely a really nice one. Then we're moving into the estate Chardonnay. As the name indicates, it's all from the estate, but it's a blend of different parcels that we own that are all organically and biodynamically farmed. So you will find a bit of fruit from the Quarry Road vineyard, a bit from the Robbins Block, a bit from the David's Block as well. So it's a blend that we make every year, that the proportion of these vineyards will change every year, but it is barrel fermented in French oak. It is barrel aged in French oak barrels for about 14 months. So definitely get the true Niagara characteristic of oak aged Chardonnay. So it has some richness, it has some toastiness, it has some apple and pear, bit of spice as well. I would say medium bodied, but also on the finish is quite fresh. So a really good balance between the fruit and the richness and the acidity. This one will go really well with a bit of richer food, cream based dishes. It will go well with mushroom. It will go well with roasted chicken. Would be really nice with that, and nice pasta as well with the pasta and creamy and seafood element would be really nice with that as well.
You're already making me hungry. I gotta start over things because you're missing all the good things that we love to eat around here. Okay, and so let's go into something a little more complex. We're bringing in the skin fermented, the orange wine this year.
Yes.
We're finding more and more people are starting to discover orange wine here in Northern Ontario, where it's been around for a little while and trendy for a little while. but a lot of people are just starting to discover it because it's not always available at restaurants locally, right? So when they go to some place or they hear about it, they're not sure what to expect. So what's so special about Tawse skin ferment? We know how much we love it. And I think I got it for the first time here with you when you were here in town that one time. Yes, I did.
Yeah, for sure. So the skin fermented white in 2021. Well, if your guests don't know what orange wine is, it's basically it's it's a wine made like a red wine, but using white grape. So basically, the skin of the white grape has been in contact with the juice for a few days. That's what is typically done with red wine. And what it does is that the skin will impart some color over time when it's in contact with the juice, and also it will bring a bit of a bitterness coming from the skin as well. So and bitterness usually in a good way. So it definitely adds some tannins and bitter flavor in the wine. This one is a blend of Riesling at 70% and 30% Gewürztraminer. What I find interesting is that the Gewürztraminer really shows through on the nose with those tropical fruit and flower notes. And then on the palate, I find that the Riesling shows through more. It's a pretty dry, austere wine. It has definitely some citrus and green apple notes with a bit of that those flowers and floral notes. I think it's a pretty versatile wine. Some orange wine could be a bit more, a bit richer, a bit more bitter as well. I find that this one is a kind of a crisp and light version of orange wine. So I think with seafood, it works really well as an aperitif. Could work really well too. And little, I would say, light Mediterranean dishes that has eggplant and zucchini and a bit of tomato and maybe garlic. Actually, it goes well with garlic. I think if you have a vegetarian dish that is made with these vegetables, I think would work really well as well.
Yeah, we always have, just gave me an idea. We used to do these eggplant rolls. We used to do them as a tapas plate, and it has a lot of complex flavors in it. And it's served cold. So I might make some rolls.
Oh, okay. I think that will work.
Now that I'm thinking like, I think eggplant would be a good, I haven't done it rolls in a while. That sounds good. You're giving me all these ideas. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have this now. I'm going to make those, bring those ones back. So now we talked about the orange wine. Obviously we have to go into rosé since you already talked about it. Yes. And, and your rosés are always part of one of our favorites that goes really well here, because it's a good mid-range rosé where I find that some of them are like, there's the really light and very dry styles. And then there's these really big, bold ones that are almost closer to like a light red than it is actually rosé. And I always find the Tawse ones like that nice middle ground that you can have it on its own or you can have it with food.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. We make this rosé to be a crowd pleaser, where you will find like delicious fruitiness, but also there's some dryness and elegance to it. It's always really well balanced to me, this wine. And I particularly like the 2021 you have. It was a 2021 compared to 2020. 21 was a cool and a wet year. It made wines that were a bit lighter in style, more elegant, with more freshness as well. And I think you will find that in this rosé. Yes, there's really nice light raspberry flavors, a bit of rhubarb as well, and a bit of that fruitiness, but nice and crisp and dry on the finish, but not too dry either. I think there's a really nice mix of there. So it's very versatile, as you know. It goes well pretty much with everything, maybe except a big T-bone. But other than that,
I think it all depends on maybe what the sauce or something is with that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Exactly. So, but I think with salads, appetizers, with salmon would be really nice as well. Grilled chicken. So that goes with really pretty much most things for sure.
And most importantly, it goes with patios, right?
Yes, of course.
They always go straight in with patios. And this week is going to be all about our patio because our weather is going to be gorgeous this week, which is fantastic. Now,
Amazing.
now we're going into our breads. So you already referred to the growers blend, both the Gamay and the Cab Franc.
Mhm.
Gamay, we're selling more and more here. I'm so excited to see people starting to really embrace this grape, especially in the summer, because of the fact that it's so light and easy drinking, and we can actually put it in the bucket with their whites just to slightly chill it. It's a very versatile that way. And then we're also big fans. Surprisingly, a lot of the guys that not just work here, but who come here often, who are I only drink really big reds and they only drink Cabernet Sauvignon. They are now starting to come in and ask for Cabernet Franc. And I am so
Oh.
excited to see that. I love the fact that they've been opened up to this grape that's doing so well here in Ontario. So maybe kind of give a little intro into these two little stellar grapes that Tawse produces.
Yes, so let's start with Gamay. Gamay is one that we've been making more Gamay over the years as well. We see that people are looking more for Gamay. I think generally speaking, like customers have been looking for lighter bodied white and red, less oaky white and red with more acidity, generally speaking. So Gamay is very conducive to that style. That Growers Blend Gamay from 2021. Again, that's from that lighter year, a bit cooler year. So it's light. You'll find lots of spiced oak flavors in this Gamay. I find there's a bit of charcuterie meat aromas and flavors as well. So it's a bit meaty. It's quite a bit spicy, sweet spice, oak spice, and a light cranberry, raspberry flavor. And I would say light to medium bodied in terms of style. So definitely that's one I think could go well with grilled meat or chicken, or grilled chicken, grilled fish would be really nice with that as well. And I think like a nice tomato base pasta with sausage would work well with that. So nothing too rich in terms of food, but it will, like, the acidity will definitely cut through some of the richness of the tomatoes, for example, and some of the grilled meat too, as long as it's not too full bodied. Then Cabernet Franc, definitely a staple at Tawse. I think we're well known for our Cabernet Franc. And we make a Cabernet Franc that is not very green. I mean, not lots of producers now make Cabernet Franc that are too green anymore. They're more ripe. But this Growers Blend from 2020, that really nice vintage, it made a wine that is rustic, that is ripe, that is I would say medium to full bodied. You definitely find some like those great blueberries, like dark fruit flavor blueberries, black cherries as well, a bit of tobacco, a bit of spice. That's one that I think will age for another 10 years. So if people like it, that's one I think I would invest to put some in your cellar. And I think it's really well priced as well. So definitely it will go well with red meat, with lamb and beef and duck as well, generally speaking. I think that would go really well with that for sure.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm getting excited about that one too. And now, the only other one, okay, there's another one I wanted to discuss with, just because it's one of my favorites, and that's the Quarry Road Pinot Noir,
Yes,
which is why I
Well,
specifically chose that one.
oh, thank you. Well, for sure. Well, Quarry Road is a vineyard that the owner acquired in 2004. So this is an estate vineyard. You will find about 40 acres of vines in this vineyard, including Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Riesling. We used to have Gewürztraminer, which we pulled this past year to plant Pinot Gris. And what's interesting about this vineyard, it's located on top of the escarpment in a sub-appellation called Vinemount Ridge. It's right at the top, at the top of the escarpment when it starts to become flatter, and you get a good influence from the lake breeze as well, and the soil is. There's lots of limestone. The limestone is very close to the topsoil, so the vines really have access to that limestone pretty quickly. And all the wines being produced from that parcel are are quite mineral driven. They're very old world in style. Definitely find, brings you to Burgundy, I find, and definitely with that minerality, it's savory, mineral, light to medium body. The tannins could be a bit hard. I wouldn't say harsh. They are always present because that's what the terroir gave us there, and it's a wine that can age for a while for sure. But after a few years, it definitely developed into something very super great. And but it doesn't mean that it's not good when it's a bit younger too. So depending of the vintage. I believe this is the 2020 that you received.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I haven't unpacked all the boxes yet, so.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's 2020, and this is from that hot vintage, and it's definitely a Quarry Road Pinot Noir that has some richness, some ripeness, and you find also the savory notes of that, and lots of cherry notes, and a bit of spice, and kind of soil as well. So this is kind of a rustic type of Pinot Noir that I think with rustic food, duck and light beef dishes will go really well. We were talking about mushroom and Chardonnay earlier. I think this will go really well with that as well. Root vegetables as well. So I think this is a nice summer red. Leading into the fall as well. I think all the fall flavor would go really, really well with that Pinot Noir because of that rustic feel to it.
Yes, I love the Burgundian style. That's one of the reasons that I love this wine so much. And then the last one, which is only available for us, and it's the first time we're bringing it in, which is your licensee only Cabernet Merlot blend. Now we know there's a lot of people who like a Cabernet Merlot blend, and I think that it's kind of that easy drinking, that's similar to that Bordeaux style. So what makes this licensee version different, and why should they be coming to try it here because they can't get it anywhere else?
Yes, for sure. Well, this is a very versatile red blend. This is from 2019 vintage, which was a bit like 2021, a bit on the cooler side. So it's not a super full-bodied red, but it's so great with so many fruits. You will find everything that you would be enthused to try when you drink Bordeaux, for example, or a light Bordeaux. So black fruit, a bit of red fruit, a bit of tobacco, a bit of spice. There's that great acid streak that will make your palate salivate with any bite you will have. So I think it could go super well with burgers, with pizzas, but I'm talking like great burgers and great pizzas of this world. And also veal, pork, light beef dishes with pasta, again, tomato-based pasta. Even with some charcuterie board would be good because it has that acidity will definitely cut through any fat you find in the food. So I think it's very, very versatile, easy drinking, and this one I think can age for another 3 years maybe in the cellar, and I think people will really enjoy it with many type of food for sure.
Well, I'm just looking at all with those reds. So on the menu that's just starting this week, just in time for this, we brought back our fromage fort, and I don't know if you've heard of that. So it is an old method used by chefs in France when they have all of the ends of their cheeses from their cheese trolley, and they put it in a food processor with garlic and white wine, and then they can either smear it as is on bread, or you can actually bake it in the oven till it's hot. So there's all kinds of different flavors in there, and it's called fromage fort because it's obviously kind of strong because it's got some blue and maybe some goat cheese, and different things in it. But I think that it could stand up to things like the Cabernet Franc, that Cab Merlot blend, like some of the reds. So I think I can see on the patio when it's getting a little later at night, having a glass of red and the people sharing that. I think that would be a wonderful way to spend the evening.
I think so. I need to try that myself too.
Yes, just remind me next time you're up. I promise I'll make you one. But yeah, look up the recipe. There's no real recipe for it. There's no traditional recipe. That's just traditionally what the chefs used to do. And we always have cheese around here. So the staff love when it's fromage fort week because then they get to play with the blend for every week to see what's going to show up.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. So any other tips for things to look out for? So what's coming this for Tawse, either for just the wines being produced, or is there any big events and things coming up for people who may want to go down and visit this summer?
Yeah, well, we don't really have other big events coming up. I mean, we're part of the International Cool Climate Chardonnay celebration, which is happening the weekend of July 22nd, 23rd.
Going again.
So, sorry, you'll be there?
Yeah, I'll be there again. Yes, I'm going for the Saturday night for the dinner. I can't make it
Okay.
away
Oh,
for the
yeah, it's
entire
always,
weekend this year, but yes, I try not to miss it because I'm a
yeah, it's
Chardonnay
always a
fan.
great. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. So we'd be there for that. I mean, we are excited as well as some of the 2022s. Our wines are being bottled in the next year or two. 2022 was also an excellent vintage, like 2020. So we're excited for this vintage as well. Yeah, there's no. I mean, we just released an unoaked Chardonnay a couple of weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, which is always fun in the summertime as well. But we always have new releases coming up, um, and yeah, I think there's nothing necessarily new. I think we're just trying to produce as many great wines as we can from mostly our own parcels, and again trying to making wines that are organically farmed as well. If people are in the area and they want to stop by, we'd be happy to see them. We're open 7 days a week, and our sister winery, which is called Redstone, has a great restaurant as well. So it's located in Beamsville. So if people are looking for a place to eat, Redstone is always amazing for that. We have a great setting as well with a beautiful patio overlooking the vineyard, so it's always
And there's
super
usually
beautiful.
a lot of live music things that are happening at Redstone too, if I
Yeah,
remember
there's
correctly.
yeah, we do have a few concerts throughout the summer as well. Every month we have a band playing on Thursdays. People can go on our website to see what's coming up. But we also have small bands coming and play as well outside too once in a while. So there's always lots of activities. It's a busy restaurant, and people really like the food and the setting. So it's always great.
They do. It's another fun stop of mine. Have to try clustering when I'm down there. So I go into one area for one day and then I do another area for another day and kind of spread it out. But I usually hit Tawse and Redstone usually in the same visit. It's usually in the
Yeah,
same.
they're close too. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's kind of handy that they're so close. Anyways, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of give us an intro into the wines that are going to be showcasing this weekend. So any guests can actually build their own flights on Thursday. Which we don't normally allow for, especially with having so many wines on listing. And if there's any extra bottles, first come, first sold we'll have them at a discount for that night as well. And then any of the wines, if we have quite a bit still left over, or people are still interested in trying it, and if they're coming to join us on Friday for our Pincho party, or even on Saturday for a date night thing, they'll be able to sample the wines as well. So it's all Tawse all weekend long.
Well, thank you for your support. We appreciate it.
Well, so it's our pleasure. And again, I appreciate it. So cheers to you. Cheers to Tawse, and cheers
Cheers.
to Ontario wine.
Yeah. Okay.
Salut.
Well, bye, Stephanie. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good week. Bye.